We're on campus today, folks. It's a twisted trip down double mic to mic Thursday, and we hope you're ready to rock with us. Let's go.
Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning. Snowman here to all you Brock Purdy and San Francisco 49er haters. Shut up. I got to thank you, Shane.
I mean, whatever happened to the games where breaking 100 points was, I don't know, unusual?
There was one word to sum up the All-Star weekend.
Trays. Cause we take this job so serious.
Splash Brothers, yes. Ray Allen, replace him with Steve Kerr. Reggie Miller, yeah.
What in the all types of blue hell?
The only thing serious about those feels is the headache. Oh yeah! Let's go! Woo!
Let's roll, baby. Good morning, and welcome to the Mic to Mic Double Play Thursday edition of Snowman in the Morning. Glad to have y'all with us, and we're not going to waste any time with any frivolities or anything like that. We're just going to get right to it. Our first guest this morning is the voice of the brand new Greensboro Gargoyles. We're talking hockey, and we're playing mic to mic right now.
I would, but we don't have the graphic in the truck.
Why did you take the graphic out of the truck?
I didn't take the graphic out of the truck. You did.
This is what we come to this Thursday morning.
You keep out of this, bro.
Dude, I checked the other truck. It's not in the other truck either.
Okay, Victor, I'm not letting you in the truck again. We're just going to bring him in. Please help me. Please help us welcome the voice of the Greensboro Gargoyles, the one and only Casey Ditzel. What's up, Casey?
What is going on?
Welcome to the show, Bubba. What's going on?
Doing well.
You excited to be in the GSO for this season?
Yeah, I'm pumped up. I just moved down about 2 weeks ago. Everything's starting to get set. We're in the arena day by day here. Today's our jersey release, so right after I hop off this, we'll be pumping out the new jerseys for the fans, and a big release coming today at 6 o'clock. They'll be right on sale online after that. So a pretty exciting day here in Greensboro.
I have to say, and I've been there because I've announced for a few teams myself, that this had to be a whirlwind for you to get the call and then having to move down to Greensboro and then all of this coming on and the season's creeping right around the corner. I know it's had to be a whirlwind for you, Casey.
Well, yeah, I was on the college side for the last 6 years, and it came pretty quick here over the summer. Started the interview process back in May through June, and then around mid-July got the call, moved down here about 2 weeks later. So it's been a quick transition, but certainly one that I'm pretty excited for. And there's a lot of excitement around this city. They're expecting a sellout crowd, trying to break the ECHL record for attendance on night one of the franchise, potentially up to 23,000 in attendance here. So that's got the potential to be something special right off the bat, which for me is almost hard to comprehend the thought of that many people in the building for a game.
You're in a place that is very familiar to me, which is Greensboro, North Carolina. I lived there a couple times, and the first ever game I took in was 1995, and it was the ACC tournament at the Coliseum, and it was a full house then. And if it was loud then, I know for the Gargoyles it's going to be very, very loud opening night. What's your thoughts about the Coliseum so far?
I'll tell you, the first time I walked into it, my jaw dropped. And I've never been to Greensboro. Didn't come down while I was interviewing, so it was completely new the first day I walked into work. And our offices are right inside the Coliseum here in walking distance from where the rink is going to be. They've had a couple test projects going up and down. Actually, they're just taking down where the boards were up today. Getting ready for a couple concerts and stuff, but they had the mock of it up the last couple weeks. And when the second I walked in, just looking around, quite literally my jaw dropped in just astonishment of how big this place is. Obviously knew the history and knew the ACC championship had been there, but not something that you can really grasp until you're actually inside here. And then now for the last 2 weeks, kind of getting to know the area, getting to know the building, walking around with no people in here, looking around, thinking about the thought of having this place full is something, just completely mind-boggling and building that excitement. But everywhere we walk around the community here, people know about the team. So we're kind of a step ahead for an expansion team because they've had hockey here. They've wanted hockey back, and now this is their chance to get it back. So a lot of people in the community who've had season tickets with the previous teams are kind of already ready to go here. That excitement's building through those people, and that's only going to spread. And then you add on top of it the ownership group being with Barstool Sports and the Spit and Chicklets guys. That's only going to make it, even bigger from there, where that kind of gets us that worldwide grasp on the hockey community.
I've seen hockey inside the Coliseum when I lived there once before. It was the Greensboro Monarchs that were there, and they were playing a great final series, 1995, against the Charlotte Checkers, and that went the full 7 games. And it was loud then. You called Clarkson home for the last 6 years in the ECAC Hockey Conference. Did that on ESPN Plus. What was that experience like?
It's everything that I could ever ask for, and now thinking back on it, that it's over everything I could wish to go back to, because it's a small town. If you went and drove through it, you probably would never think about wanting to go back to it. And
right,
that might have been how my mom felt when we went up when I was in high school as a recruit, but it is the most special place on the planet. I tell everybody that and genuinely mean it. Where a group of people from our hockey team were all together last night, and everybody was crying because that's how much it means to not just myself, but a lot of people there. And it's pretty unique that, over the 6 years I was there, I ran a show and got to meet a lot of the alumni that came back and worked pretty close with our alumni department. And every single person, whether it's people from the 1950s, the 1960s, 70s, 80s, or 5 years ago, everybody still has the same thought on Potsdam, New York. And it seems like not much has changed up there, but it's a small town community. For me, it was great because I probably early on in my academic career maybe needed a little bit of that push and being close with professors and having the right people to get me on the right path. I started in engineering my freshman year. I was about to drop out of school my sophomore year, and that's when I met my public speaking teacher, and I just started working with the student radio during my freshman year. COVID hit, and was kind of getting more into that. I was on the ski team, got injured, so really didn't know what I wanted to do, didn't really have a path set, didn't at all like engineering, and she kind of pushed me towards the communications route. And I loved hockey. I loved working around the hockey teams. I loved the players, my friends on the team, and that was the direction I needed. And then all of a sudden, it snowballs, and I got that little push from behind, and then I was able to kind of make my own journey from there. And a huge piece of that is the small community, small school, because they really gave me the reins to do whatever I wanted, where my junior year, we took over the social media. Me and one other kid that was a really talented videographer and graphics editor. And I was on more the player relations side, but the coaching staffs kind of gave us full reins where I'd grab the players, come up with a few ideas. He would film them, edit them, and we'd pump them out. And all of a sudden, the social media presence, where it was more of a local presence there, went from a following of about 2,000 people to over 10,000 within the year. Then we started a couple radio shows. We started podcasting and had direct contact with the players, both men's and women's teams. That's something that doesn't happen if you go to a Penn State, a Michigan State, Arizona State, these big time schools where we're still, playing against those teams. It's the same caliber of talent that's coming through the doors. But I had a kind of a front row seat and was really fortunate for that in that way. And certainly, Clarkson is the complete reason that I'm able to sit where I am here now in the professional leagues and with an exciting opportunity with this brand new expansion franchise. That doesn't happen without my time there and without the people there that were helping me out.
Who are some of the voices you listened to growing up that gave you an inspiration while you were trying to find your way into the industry?
I kind of had a roller coaster path. I grew up a huge NASCAR fan, so I would say
Yes!
Darrell Waltrip. And
there you go. DW.
So when I was 4 years old, I was a diehard NASCAR fan. So we would put numbers on our bikes and draw chalk racetracks around the driveway, and I would sit and announce them while it was me, my brother, and my sister when we were 4 or 5 years old, and I'd be announcing while we were biking around, trying to keep track of how many laps and whatever, and then after that, I watched a lot of golf. Doc Emmerich is a huge influence on me, obviously for hockey names. Actually, pretty cool. I got a text from him yesterday, and we're gonna have a chance to talk next month, which I'm beyond excited. That's a guy I never thought in the world in a million years I'd have a chance to meet. And that also shows how small the hockey community is. But I think, especially since I've really started getting into it, and like I said, I was an engineering major, so I had no aspirations of becoming a broadcaster. But once I really, started transitioning into it, probably 2019, 2020, guys I've listened to a lot. I'm a Carolina Hurricanes fan, so I really like Trip Tracy. And on the hockey side, analysis was something I had to learn a lot of because I never played. So listening to him a lot, the way he describes the game, trying to find energy and display that passion while still, engaging the fans and giving insight that is teaching to the game. He's someone I think does that exceptionally well. On the Edmonton Oilers side, Jack Michaels is one of my favorite. I've gotten to know him, had him on our show last year, and a guy who's really close with our head coach. So since I've gotten this job, I've talked to him a couple times, and he's one of my favorite on the energy side to listen to, a guy who's very passionate, a guy I could sit and listen to, all the time. But it certainly on the hockey side comes back every time to Doc Emmerich. I don't think anybody's ever going to be able to match or beat what he's done. With Shoes and on ESPN is certainly a top 10 talent, but Doc Emmerich, is the all-time voice for sure.
Yeah,
for me, growing up, the Dogs had Jack Edwards for many, many years with Boston. Me growing up in Chicago, I had Pat Foley, and now John Weideman, who's the radio voice of the Chicago Blackhawks for many years, many years, the voice of the Chicago Blackhawks, John Weideman. And for me, it was Pat Foley. But, of course, you can't go wrong with Doc Emmerich either.
No.
I love listening to Doc when he was the voice of the Devils, and then he became the national voice for the NHL when it was on NBC. You can't go wrong with Doc Emmerich. The other thing that is dear to my heart, when I read your bio, the Special Olympics are very, very dear to you and to your sister Paige, who competed in Torino, Italy. How is that?
Yeah, so my sister has Down syndrome, so something that obviously has been a part of my life since I can remember. She's 2 years younger than me, so I've always been kind of around that and around the Special Olympics, kids with special needs since as far back as I can remember. And this past year, we had a pretty cool opportunity. She's been my family grew up skiing. My dad's a ski patroller at the local mountain, so I used to race and then transitioned into cross country skiing, which my family couldn't comprehend when we had all of the equipment for downhill racing. He's a downhill skier. All of a sudden, we had to buy all the new stuff. So that was when I went to college skiing. It was on the cross country side, but she's been a downhill skier as long as we have. She's done more racing than me or my brother combined. My brother plays basketball, and so she's kind of worked her way up. She was on the Special Olympics board with the state of New York the last few years, and then they were talking about inviting her 4 years ago. I think it was in Sweden, and she would have only been 15, 16 years old, so hadn't kind of been out by herself and had to live on her own, because that's a big piece of what the Special Olympics does. That's really cool about the World Games. It's really, a journey for these kids to learn independence, because a lot of what they do with the training camps, they have 2 training camps out west. And then obviously they go to a foreign country for almost an entire month. But a lot of that is traveling by yourself or with a coach and learning to be without your parents, learning to be on your own. So for her, and she's a pretty independent person herself, but it was a pretty cool experience to see her go out to Utah, have a roommate for the first time, where my brother and I were in college, and she's always wanted to go to college. And then she got the nod to go to Torino, Italy, went through all the camps. And they treat them like standard Olympians that we'll see in 2026 coming up pretty soon. Got all the gear, the winter coats, the polos, just whatever USA merch that you can think of. And I was always joking that she couldn't have been a little bit taller, so I could steal some of that stuff. But she's probably 4'10", so that's not going to fit on me. But all kinds of cool stuff. And then my whole family got the opportunity to go out. So it fell kind of perfectly right in between the conference championships on the women's side and the men's conference championships in Lake Placid that I was working for the conference. So went down with our women's team. Unfortunately, they lost in the semifinals this year to Cornell, who went to the Frozen Four. And then flew out the next day, went out to Italy. My girlfriend came out, her family came, and got to tour Italy for about 13 days and flew back right in time to make it to Lake Placid and work for the men's trip. But now from that, she's been able to get so much more out of it. She just actually yesterday moved into Syracuse University and is going to be going through their 4-year program there. So, which is pretty cool. They have a BOCES program. They live on campus, live in the dorms 4 years. They take classes. So she's going to be taking, the same classes that I would take. And I think they have a little bit different curriculum on a pass-fail basis, but she's a full college student all of a sudden. A lot of that stems from, what the Special Olympics kind of brands and teaches kids on independence from a young age, which is pretty cool.
This mic to mic, you meet some of the coolest people, and the people that are just getting started in the business. Some people that have been in the business. Of course, we have Bill Schoening on as a very dear friend. This fella right here, folks, is going to be one of the newest voices of hockey. If you haven't tuned him in, I suggest that you do. Greensboro, get ready. You have a fabulous voice for your Gargoyles. Casey Ditzel joining us here as we kick off the Thursday edition of Snowman in the Morning with a little mic to mic, getting to know him. Casey, love you very much. Thanks for coming on, and we hope that you come back.
Yeah, appreciate it. Anytime. You got my contact. Thanks for having me, and it was a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Casey.